and then join the Zoom link. Is that right?
Right.
Vineet? Yeah. Yes, sir. So.
Sandeep sir?
Yes.
Sandeep sir, okay. Sir, may we request you to record this session?
Yes, Vineet, I'm recording it.
Right, sir. Right.
Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, sir. We can see the screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so thanks again. Thanks, Shweta, for your nice and kind words. First of all, Shweta, there is no one who is, I'll say, small or big enough. All of us needs. Special thanks to Vineet and Mohit. So we are in touch with each other from last 3 months, and I appreciate the way Vineet and Mohit has organized the things. I also appreciate that Vineet was having COVID, but still he was looking into all the things, and I'm happy to see him fully recovered from that thing. So let's start the workshop. And this is going to be the agenda from my side for today. I will just start with a brief about my journey, which I can surely say, Shweta, was a small step when I started the things. Right? We'll discuss a few things about a good case study. Then I'm having a few examples. I hope that everyone has looked at the case studies, because I have given some case study to you to have a look at it, and that can give you some good amount of idea to write your own case studies. So we'll have a quick look at Sarva Pharmaceuticals, Ajanta Packaging, and then my HBR case study about your star salesperson Light. Should he get a second chance? And then we'll get into the case writing process, and we'll end the day with the plan for day 2. If possible for you, I will request all of you that please switch on your cameras. I can say one thing, that in the last 1.5 years, I have taken few workshops at some good institutes. Fortunately or unfortunately, some of the cases which got published, 3 cases got published, they were only with those participants who were switching on their cameras. Right? But you can surely mute yourself. Okay, this is how typically I introduce myself. I took this idea from Professor Charles Dhanraj when I was attending his master teacher program at ISB Hyderabad. Right, this is me and the 4 pillars of my life. I lost my father last week only, last Tuesday. I have cancelled most of my classes, but I know this. I really cannot take that type of thing with the workshop. I'm having around 27-year work experience. I started my career with Novartis. Then I was working with Trident. I was heading their marketing and sales. Then I started my teaching career with IMT Ghaziabad. I also studied from the same college, being an alumni. So I worked there for around 9 years. And last 3.5 years, I'm working at IEEM. I was also a research scholar at Georgia Tech. I have attended a program in sales management at Kellogg. It's a beautiful campus. And I also done a master teacher program from ISB Hyderabad. I have a few publications listed with Harvard Business Publishing, published with Ivy Publishing basically. I do have 2 publications with Harvard Business Review. I was also jury member for L'Oreal Brandstorm competition at Paris in 2016. They typically invite few professors from all over the world to be the jury for the international competition. I'm a movie buff, so in case I'm not writing or studying, big possibility that I'm watching a movie at that point in time. Kane Blanchard is my favorite author. I teach CRM, so I love giving the gifts of Kane Blanchard to the students scoring highest marks in my courses. I work for Novartis, had been to Switzerland a few times, so I always pray to God to, in case I get a chance to select my place of retirement, then it's Switzerland. No doubt, Philippines is also a very beautiful country. I'm a typical foodie, so these are the 4 favorite things of mine: a mug of beer with music, tandoori chicken, and matar paneer. And this is the mantra of my life, that God has given us 2 hands. One is for helping ourselves, and the other is for helping others. And I try to follow this principle whenever it's possible. I also typically take 2 more people. I'm always grateful to these 2 people. Professor B.S. Sahai, he's the director of IEEM person to get me into academics, Dr. B.S. Sahai. And then also Dr. Pravinder Arora, he was my professor. Okay, so I have around 73 with Harvard Business Publishing. I have 6 case studies which are WDI publishing. And these are 2 covers of the Harvard. I have to. Now, how my journey started. So I think my journey started. I will pray that no one among you need to start like this. Let me, in case my voice is breaking, let me switch off my camera in that case. I'm okay. Am I audible now?
Awesome.
Yes.
Sir, you are
Thank
audible.
you. Okay. So how my journey started? My journey started, I think, way back. It was Teachers' Day, and then at IMT Ghaziabad, fortunately or unfortunately, we have a very good mess at IMT Ghaziabad. Our professor at IMT Ghaziabad, IB case publication. I'm talking about 2011. So everyone was and talking to him the case study. I'll say fortunately for me, everyone sitting in that faculty mess me by saying that, I was taking placements at that point. Me that
So your voice is still breaking. It's not clear.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible, but while you're speaking, it's breaking up.
I think, we can switch off our videos, maybe it is taking a toll on the bandwidth there at his end.
Okay.
Yes, maybe if it's possible, you can.
Please switch off your videos, all of you, please.
Switch off your videos, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So am I audible now?
Yes,
Better,
yes,
sir. It is better.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it is better.
Thank you. Thank you. So, so I asked that particular professor about his case publication, about the content of the publication. But I got one of the biggest insult of my career in front of everyone sitting in that particular room. This professor said to me that you take care of placements, not get into all these type of things. You will never understand what the case is and how to write. In fact, he even said to this point that be a good teacher. I think I got disturbed on that day. I was having a Ghaziabad always, by God's grace. I think coming from the industry, we always can very better manner as compared to others. Right. So I think on that particular day, I was staying at IMT only because summer placements were going on at that time. So after the college hours, I was staying in the we have a guest house for the faculty members. So I went out. I love beer, so whenever I'm disturbed, I typically have beer. So I went out. I had 2 kingfishers at that time, and then I came back to go to my room in the guest house. Fortunately for me, at that point in time, this gentleman, he was my student. He is my student right now. He is heading CIPLA in USA. So Parasaran is his name. So he saw that the light was on in my room. So he came up with a card. It was a Teacher's Day card. And then, I was a little bit emotional that one time. And then I was already down with 2 beers. So he said one thing to me, that Prof, you tell us some of the stories of your own experience in a very good manner. Why don't you start writing the case studies? In fact, he was a student, but he was having one publication with IB before that. And he said that, Prof, let's start the case study together. That's how my journey started way back in 2011. In fact, the first case study which I got published with IB, that was my solo case study. But my second case study was published with Parasaran and 2 or 3 more students. So I think that's how my case study journey started. And even till today, even if I'm having 70 or 80 case studies, I always say thanks to Parasaran. When my first HBR case study got accepted, Harvard Business Review, he was the first person I called. In fact, I called him before I called my wife and other family members that I'm going to have a Harvard Business Review publication. So many times I think our students can also be our big motivation from many perspectives. So that's how my case study journey started. So that's why I was saying to Shweta that Shweta, so no one among us is big or small. I think it's our journey and we're all responsible for it. Okay, so let's spend some time in understanding each other. I know 2 or 3 people who have joined this workshop. I know them well. In fact, I'm already in the process of writing something with them. But my connection is again unstable. I don't know why, but let's get acquainted. I will request maybe I will take the names one by one, and then maybe you can introduce yourself. I will stop share for some time. Okay, so I'm taking names one by one, looking at the list here. Abhimanyu, so maybe you can introduce yourself from where you are and your experience with the case writing or case study teaching. Yes, Abhimanyu.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Abhimanyu. I am presently working as a senior research fellow in a DST sponsor project at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. My motivation for case study coming for this workshop is like I'm trying to widen my horizon. I like the to study different research methodological things. So this was an interesting workshop. So I applied for it. So this is the thing.
Thanks a lot, Abhimanyu. Thank you very much. I appreciate for switching on your camera also. Arshi Khan.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Yeah, I'm Arshi Siddiqui, and currently I'm pursuing my PhD. And the reason why I have taken up this workshop, I was not very confident about writing case studies. So when my friend Jitendra, he told me about this, I was like, yeah, this is my weak area and I want to learn this thing. And I want to be competent in writing cases. That's it.
Thanks, Arshi. Thank you very much. Yes,
Yeah.
Arun. Arun Mishra. Sadhna Dash.
Yeah, so I work with the Xavier Institute of Management. I currently in the area of HR. I come with about 25 years of work ex, and then I moved to academics last 7 years. So given my work experience, the case study has over the last few years become very interesting for me. I've already written 2 case studies with the case research journal Exambies, and also working currently on a case with Springer India Casebook. So, I wanted to learn the ropes here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadhna. Thank you very much. Shweta Singhal. Shweta Singhal. Okay.
Shweta, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, Shweta.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Dr. Shweta Singhal, and I have completed my PhD from MNIT Allahabad. And presently, I am working as a visiting faculty in Amity University, Sector 125, Noida. So this is the first time that I will be writing on case studies. So it will be a great experience for me.
Thanks, Shweta.
Thank you, sir.
I will request all of you that you can call me Sandeep. It's a little bit difficult in the initial days, but here in the Philippines, when I joined here, I was calling each and everyone as sir or ma'am. But then my president, she simply said that, Sandeep, unless and until you call me by my name, I'm not going to talk to you, or I'm not going to respond to your questions. Right? So,
Sandeep.
Yeah, so all of you can call me Sandeep. I'm okay with it. Right? I, in fact, asked my EMBA students to call me with my name only. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sandeep Rawat.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Sandeep. My name is Sandeep Rawat, and I have completed my PhD from MICA Ahmedabad. Currently, I'm working as an assistant professor at Narsi Monji, Mumbai, since last 2.5 years in the School of Business Management and associated with School of Entrepreneurship and Family Business Management. My reason to actually come to this case study was a professor with whom I've just written one paper. He has taken a session here, Ramendra Singh. So he asked me to come here, as well as, I come across a lot of family business students in our school who have so many interesting kind of dilemmas and issues. Some of them I have developed cases, but that I teach across on my classes. So I thought it's a good time to kind of, learn the art of publishing, and so that I can take some of those repositories to the good journals, good cases, publishers. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandeep. I'm having some good friends at MICA, Santosh Patra especially, and then
He was my
Jan
professor.
and Shefali.
Yes, Varsha ma'am was my thesis advisor.
Okay. Amani Omer.
Hello, Sandeep. Yes, that's correct, Amani. Nice, Sandeep. Sorry about your father, first of all, and may God rest his soul in peace. I'm an environmental economist from Khalifa University, Abu Dhabi, in the UAE. I'm interested in case studies because I'm Sudanese, and our country is going out of 30 years of, mass destruction. And now people are coming with lots of initiatives to start tackling problems like poverty, energy issues. And I thought I could learn from the cases presented here and also develop my case studies, writing skills, and hopefully get, all that.
Thank you, Amani.
Thank you.
Mohit. Mohit, can you introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yes, Mohit.
Yeah, so you said something. I just was not able to hear that.
Yes, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, why not? I'm Dr. Mohit Maurya, and I'm working for Shada University in School of Business Studies as associate professor in the area of marketing. I've been with the Shada University for past 3 years and in the area of teaching for about 2 decades. I've been a consultant trainer for various organizations in the country, like Kirloskar Brothers, to name a few, for People One Adeco, and for Suzlon, and various other industries. I've been into teaching, marketing, retailing, branding, and various other subjects. So a very brief profile of me as such, but primarily if you speak, I'm a teacher, a consultant, a trainer, and that's it, in a nutshell.
Thanks, Mohit. Rahul?
Thanks.
Yes, good afternoon, Sandeep. Yes, this is Dr. Rahul Wagmare from Vishwakarma University, Pune. And my domain area is entrepreneurship and strategic management development. Yes, and this is first kind of work related to the case study. So earlier I will be in the qualitative research, and I have published the research journal papers, but this is first time I am attempting to write a case study. Thank you.
Thanks, Rahul. In fact, I must say that, when you start writing your own case studies, my experience is that you also become more effective in your classes, because when you discuss the case study written by you, your effectiveness really goes up in that case. Thanks, Rahul. Ricardo?
Yes, Sandeep. I'm Dr. Ricardo Archbold. Currently, I'm working at Khalifa University in Abu Dhabi. And I also have colleagues on here. Amani is one of my colleagues, and so is Professor Glenn Mushert. So I'm interested in the case study aspect of publishing, and also to learn how to more analyze some of the challenges of businesses, so I can, as you say, better teach your classes with a better understanding. Originally, before coming to Khalifa, I worked corporate in the US. So as a department manager there, I was involved in a lot of different business challenges. So now it's a good way to see how to more get involved in those kind of things. Thank you.
Thanks, Ricardo. I'm having a friend, we typically call him Ricky. That is his name. His name is also Ricardo, basically.
Oh, yeah, so my family calls me Rick. So you can call me Rick also, that's good.
Sure, Rick. Yes, Durai?
Good afternoon, Sandeep and friends. I'm Durai Jaikar. I'm doing my fellowship management in Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. I wanted to join here basically because I want to have an interactive session in case studies. I believe writing case studies can be learned in other prospects also, but interaction happens only when you're in a meeting like this. So basically this, because my plan is I'm obviously going to interact with all the entrepreneurs over here in Ahmedabad, and I think I'll be getting a lot of chance to pick up cases from them. So if I know the art of doing it better, I think my output will be better. That's my concern. That's why I joined here. Thank you.
Thanks, Durai. I will surely try to share whatever I know about case writing and my experience in that case. And I hope it can help all of you. Gio? Gio Jos?
You are muted.
Yes, Gio? Okay, Glenn? Glenn, can you unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, it seems that Gio is not audible. So hello, assalamu alaikum and namaskar to all of my colleagues. My name is Glenn Mushert. I am professor of sociology at Khalifa University of Science and Technology in Abu Dhabi, UAE. So I'm a sociologist and have an interest in digital technologies and remittances such as mobile money systems. I think in India, it's most common is the Paytm system, but also in other countries such as East Africa with like M-Pesa and so on. So I'm new to business studies, and I'm interested in kind of looking at the human side of the interface with technology in business applications. So thank you, Sandeep, for welcoming me today, and I'm look forward to working with all of my colleagues here. And thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Thank you very much. Jalal?
Hello. Hey, my name is Jalal and I'm working at the University of Kovda in Sweden. International marketing is my main field. I don't come from qualitative tradition. I think my interest is in quantitative tradition, research domain. But while I was a PhD student, I had some couple of courses on qualitative studies. Last year, I was supervising some master's students and I felt that I have some lackage in my qualitative understanding. That's why I'm here.
Thanks, Jalal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Jitender?
So did you call Jitendra?
Yes, Jitendra.
Yeah, hi, sir. So nice to hear you. This is Jitendra Kumar. I'm also working with Sharda University as an assistant professor in marketing. So I published 8 cases in EMCS and 1 in Vision. So I do teach, I do refer a lot of case studies. And that was the reason actually we wanted to conduct this workshop as a team member, so that everyone should get this hinge of writing cases, sharing experiences, so that we all can make decisions. And we can help the future managers to think and make decisions based on the cases. That's it from my side, sir.
Thanks, Jitender.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Kanika?
Very good afternoon, Sandeep. Kanika this side. So I am a research scholar in IIFT Delhi, and my research specialization is in finance and international business. I'm teaching as an assistant professor in DIAS also. It's a college of IP University in Delhi again. So though I have written many research papers in my field, and I have taught through case studies also in my classes, but yet I was more over motivated by this workshop to attend this workshop because I want to know how to write for Emerald and the other platforms which are there.
Thanks,
Thank
Kanika.
you.
Thanks, Kanika. Kanika, in fact, yes, in case thinking about a journal publication, Emerald cases can be a very good platform. But I will request all of you to think about maybe places like IV or IMD or Babson, so that, you know, if your cases can come on Harvard Business Publishing platform, then you will have a wider audience.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kanika. Karishma?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Karishma Chaudhary, and currently I'm working as visiting professor at 2 colleges. One is Army Institute in Greater Noida, and one is Symbiosis Noida. So I've done my doctorate in electronic waste management, and my area of research is sustainable development, circular economy, and I have done various publications in good journals, but I haven't written a case. So I come across various organizations who are doing wonderful work in the field of waste management or sustainable development. So, but I felt I lack the skills to write a good case. So that is why I'm here to learn from all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Karishma. I will not say that you lack the skills. For surely, I can say like that. Kirtika?
Good afternoon, Sandeep. I'm Saranya. Sharanya Arun Kumar. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to enrich my knowledge in case writing. Though I'm in a consultant business, I could not write. I'm not able to write case study in an in-depth way. So I just came here to know right from the scratch. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirtika. Yes, Komal.
Yeah, hi, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Kamil Kapoor, and I am a marketing and a strategy teacher at IMS Ghaziabad. So, with almost 2 decades of teaching experience, I have recently developed interest in case study writing. I'm also responsible for setting up the research and case center at my institute. Last 2 years, I've written certain cases on Amazon supply chain and Netflix business model in India specifically. But they were primarily more based on the secondary sources, and that gave me the motivation to join this particular workshop, as Dr. Mohit Maurya suggested me, because I wanted to learn the art of writing the case from the primary source, that is from the entrepreneur's mouth. So I thought it should be a good opportunity for me to learn this particular side of case writing, and maybe I can be of some use and some inputs I can give to my faculty colleagues at IMS who are working on building their own capabilities of case writing. So thank you so much for having me at this workshop. Thank you.
Thanks, Komal. Gio, we missed you earlier. You can unmute yourself, Gio. I think Gio is having some connection issues, maybe. Yes, Gio. Gio, you have to unmute yourself. Yes. You're not audible, Gio. Maybe Gio, you can try removing your headphones.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Gio.
Okay. PhD from Ahmedabad. So I am interested in case study research methodology. So I thought to attend this case study workshop so that I will get a feedback upon the different interview patterns and also provided. So I thought this is a good opportunity to explore. So I thought to join this workshop.
Thanks, Gio.
Okay.
Lena.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Leena this side. Well, my motivation for joining this case study, Sandeep, I've been following you in LinkedIn and I read your messages there. Excuse me. Messages therein, but I have not yet sent you a connection request. And when I saw the flyer that Sharda University is inviting you as the anchor resource person, I said this is the right opportunity for me to hear from case writer as accomplished as that of Sandeep. So that's my main motivation for joining this. And since this 1 year of pandemic, and it has taught us that networking and collaboration is not does not happen only when you physically meet, but it does happen very much through the virtual platform. And hence I must say that so far I have interacted with Vineet and Jitender from the organizer side, and the kind of virtual hospitality, I can say that they show is incredible. So thank you organizers for bringing in the galaxy of all renowned case writers. And I look forward to collaboration, networking and learning. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lena. Thank you very much. And I appreciate that you took some time to say even thanks to Vineet and Mohit and Jitinder. Thanks.
And yes, Sandeep, I shall send you a connection request now with my name and a note written. So I hope to that it will be accepted.
Sure, sure, Lena. I think I typically accept all the LinkedIn requests in case there is one or two mutual connections or at least a photograph is there. Okay, so I will surely accept it. I'm sorry in case I.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lujane. Lujane. Mohammad Sharik.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? I think something's wrong with the camera.
Sharik, we can share. We can hear you.
Yeah. So I'm a faculty at IBS Gurgaon. I teach strategy and business ethics, corporate governance. I was in the corporate for about 24 years, and I moved to academics about 5 years back. And case writing, case teaching has always fascinated me. Especially case writing, which is quite a challenge. And I attended a couple of workshops. But what I really liked about this workshop, and I really have to commend the organizers, is that not only have they arranged the workshop with a person of your background and eminence, but at the same time, they have also constructed a practical way of taking us through the whole writing process, which actually is the challenge. So the how to process which they have integrated into this workshop is what really attracted me, and I'm pretty optimistic that all of us are going to get some good output given the kind of resource person that they have in you and the kind of effort that they are making in putting this together. So yeah, thank you, and I really look forward to the rest of the workshop.
Okay, let's go to Lujan again. I think she was speaking, but it was not showing in. Lujan, you're not audible. Maybe Lujan, you can think about removing your headphones in case you're using headphones.
I think that there is some other problem. She's saying that I have no headphones and I'm already speaking.
Okay, thanks, Durai. Momita.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Momita.
Oh, sorry.
So, I'm Dr. Momita Acharya. I completed my PhD from FMS Delhi University. After that, then I got the postdoctoral fellowship also from UGC in Humanities and Social Science. So I have few cases, not few, only 2 cases from my PhD. And the cases mostly have been from the CSR area, which was my PhD topic also, CSR and HRM integration. So that was the case from CSR structure. Okay, so but I am mainly from HR area, that's my core specialization. And so now I want to understand how to make entrepreneurs talk about their HR issues. I feel, it's very difficult to ask them question and how to, motivate them that or delve into the HR issues for any upcoming venture or any, company is, I feel it's very, very difficult, because I also started one case study with an organization, but that is also stuck in between. Now I don't know how to proceed with it. So I found this a very good platform where not only I'm able to collaborate with other team members, but also new entrepreneurs are also there with whom we can collaborate. So it will be a good new understanding. And with your expertise, sir, I'm really looking forward to understand various issues of case writing. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Momita. Deep, no sir, no ma'am here, right?
Right, sir. Right.
One request to all of you, why I'm having introduction. I know we still have a few more people to go. In case it's required, I'm ready to take additional time for the workshop. That will not be an issue. But I typically go that I want to understand who are the participants, and I like to know a few things about them. Right. So please bear with me for this little bit longer introduction from different candidates. Nimit.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to you also, Professor Puri. I am Nimit Thakur. I am a faculty at Ahmedabad University in Ahmedabad. I am a chartered accountant by profession, but I've turned to academics out of pure interest since long. And I'm joining this workshop because I am interested in case writing. I have written a couple of cases which are published on ECCH. I also had participated in the recent workshop organized by AIMA, and we received a pretty good feedback. In fact, my case was adjudged as the best case study. But I think that there is a lot more that I can do, and therefore I would want to put up my cases in some of the better institutes across the world going further. And therefore I wanted to learn case writing in a much better way from somebody like you.
Thanks, Nimit, and congratulations for getting the best study award at AIMA.
Thank you, Professor Puri. Thank you.
Yes, I think Lujane.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me now? I
Yes,
hope
Lujane,
you do.
quite clear now.
Yes, I think there was an issue, and I just closed the link and I opened it again. I think there was an issue. I'm glad it's fixed. So I'm Lujain. I'm working at the American University in Cairo here in Egypt as a research manager. We're required to write 6 case studies to our donors. 3 of them my colleagues Siham and Noah did last year, and 3 we need to accomplish this year as well. I'm still new to the team and new to case writing, so I'm excited upon what I'm going to learn through this workshop so we could achieve our goals this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Lujane. And I also that you were having some connection issues, but you were persistent that you want to introduce yourself. This is really a very good quality.
Thank you.
Noha.
Yes, hello, sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Noha today. As Ujain mentioned, we are all from the AUC, the American University in Cairo, Egypt. It's wonderful to be here, and our motivation is basically that we're working on a couple of case studies for the AUC. We've already submitted 3 to Emerald, 2 of which have been accepted, and we're waiting for the 3rd one. We have 3 more to write. And this is why we are on board to learn from your experience, especially with regards to submitting cases to Emerald. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Noha. Parul.
A very good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon to you too, Sandeep sir. It's really a privilege. I have been literally waiting for the opportunity to attend a workshop being conducted by you on case writing, and I'm thankful to Sharda University and to all the organizers to actually make this possible. And although I've had a prior experience in writing case studies, but I'm still into a learning phase. I'm still trying to improvise my writing style in context to the same. And I have a firm belief that I'll keep trying until I succeed. So with that motivation, I'm attending this workshop to learn a lot and to collaborate and to work ahead. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Parul. Parul, I must say that in case someone with my background, I am from a government school. I studied till 10th in a Punjabi medium school. In case someone from the background which I am having, if I can write cases, I think all of you can write much better and much more than me in that case. So please have that type of a belief that if Sandeep can do it, all of us can do much better than him.
Yes, sir.
Preeti?
Thank you, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Preeti.
Yeah. Hi, Sandeep. I'm Preeti. I'm pursuing my FPM from IIM Kashipur. And basically, my motivation for joining this workshop is that I had a story which I wanted to write, but I got stuck in between because of methodological issues. And the method which suitably was applied or which could be applied was the case study. And despite reading many case studies, I couldn't write well at that time. So I asked my friends like what could be done. And one of my friend has already published an IV. He suggested that you can join if ever you got opportunity, Mr. Sandeep Puri, if you could ever join his workshop. So I thought that let's join this workshop. That was the main reason. Thank you.
Thanks, Preeti. I'm having some of my old colleagues there. I think Professor Rakesh Agarwal, Somnath,
Yes.
and then even Safal Batra. I have co-authored a case study with Safal Batra.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Convey my regards to them whenever you meet them.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank Rajan?
Good afternoon, Professor Sandeep. I'm Rajan Ranjit Kumar. I'm doing my PhD from Department of Management Studies in IIT Madras. I've been wanting to learn the case writing and the logic behind writing a case study because I've been a above average student and I've never really enjoyed the classes where they teach the theory, but I've always enjoyed the classes which were case based. So I thought, why not use case study for subjects which usually do not use case studies? And
Yes,
also writing a story, developing a storyboard will also help me in my hobby of writing stand-up comedy.
Yes, Rajan, I do agree with you that many times case study based learning is much more participative than the other methods of learning. So Rajan, where is Rajesh? I think he was also joining with you, right?
Yes, sir.
No issues. Rijwana? Rijwana, you're not audible.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Am I audible now, sir?
Yes, Rijwana.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Sandeep, sir. This is Dr. Rizwana Rafiq from Central University of Kashmir. I have done my PhD from University of Kashmir. My field of interest is HR, organizational behavior, and eventually I have developed some interest in entrepreneurship because I teach entrepreneurship in Central University of Kashmir. Right now, I'm a faculty in Central University of Kashmir Department of Commerce, and the main motivation behind joining this workshop was to learn about writing good cases because I have many many publications, but they are more into empirical form, say quantitative form, but I want to have some experience in qualitative research, which I believe is a wonderful say a platform to express. And case studies, I believe that they give a prompt answers, and you can do justice to some problem eventually which you take up. Second important motive behind joining this workshop was to to gain some experience of how to teach case studies and discuss case studies, rather to do justice with the case studies in your classroom. So these were my two main motives behind joining this workshop. And yes, to have a galaxy of experts like you around here. So it will be a great experience, hopefully. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne, for being so kind. Rojita?
Yes, hi. My name is Rosita Ghaffari. I recently got my PhD from Southern New Hampshire University in international business. And I'm currently a faculty at Southern New Hampshire University as well. And I'm new to case writing, and I'm here to learn from you and other professors how to write a good quality case study and be able to publish it.
Thanks, Rosita.
Dr. Sandeep, we are not able to hear you.
Yes, Rajesh? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Now we can hear you.
Yes, Rajesh, can you? You're there?
Hello.
Yes, Rajesh.
Sorry, Sandeep, I joined a different link and sorry, I got a little delay. So.
Yes, Rajesh.
So I am part of a team of this research scholars at IIT Madras and looking forward to attending this workshop. We are working on the What Burger case study. Let's see how we can bring out. But I was really looking forward to your session today.
Thanks, Rajesh. In fact, our Java case study is still pending.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Right, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank
you. Ruchi?
Good afternoon, Sandeep and everyone else. I'm Ruchi. I did my master's in fashion technology from NIFT, and I worked in the apparel marketing and export sector for 8 years. And in 2008, I moved into teaching fashion management. And currently, I'm a guest faculty in the fashion management department at NIFT Delhi, and also a PhD scholar with Sharda University, as Dr. Mohit Moria is my guide under marketing. And this is my first year. And you can say I have no publications. I have never written a case study. And you can say that my journey in research has just begun. And though I've been teaching entrepreneurship and marketing for a very long time, and like everybody else says, that case studies are the way that the kids really, really enjoy learning. And it's the best way that the teacher can teach and the concepts as well. But as far as writing is concerned, my journey has just begun. And I'm here to learn from everybody.
Thanks, Ruchi.
Thank you.
Surely share a few of the common things. I also left my textile business job in 2008.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. That's
Trident
nice.
is a textile company, right?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Trident is a textile company.
So you're not audible?
I said Trident is a textile company.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. That's right.
And I was having some of my colleagues from NIFT.
Okay, sir. So I was with buying agencies for 8 years.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I'll be happy to learn from you, sir. It's totally new for me. Everything is new for me right now.
Yes, I can understand, but you have to call me Sandeep, not sir.
Yes, Sandeep, sure. Professor Puri.
Navneet?
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. I'm Navaneetha Krishnan. I am a part-time research scholar at IIT Madras Department of Management Studies. I basically come from the armed forces background. I'm a retired commander from the Indian Navy. Then I was with the L&T shipbuilding. I wanted to move to academics, so I joined IIT Madras Management School. My guide, Professor Ganesh, he took me in another different direction. He said, why don't you do research on startups and risk that startups have? So that's how my journey with entrepreneurship started. Since I didn't have an basic exposure to entrepreneurship, I was helping one of my classmates who was also an entrepreneur in Chennai. So that is when IIM Lucknow came out with the first case study contest. So a couple of things which
Yes,
we
this is
suggest.
Chandrashit.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, couple of things which we worked out for that particular small entrepreneurial firm or startup. We converted it into a case study, which was welcomed at IIM Lucknow. In fact, we got one of the best case study award. Subsequently, couple of months back, Journal of Entrepreneurship and Innovation came out with another special edition on startups case studies. They wanted teaching case studies on startups facing crisis. So again, I went back to my same classmate and we made a case study. But to be very honest, I had not had a formal way of learning a case study. It is only referring the previous case studies I came to know how to do it. And in the last 2 days of this particular session, I have realized how much mistakes I have done in both the case studies which I had done. So at the outset, I am thankful to the organizers, primarily Sharada. And one thing I should compliment Sharada University is for not just organizing and bringing the resources for this event, but at the same time, they have also brought entrepreneurs. Actually, one thing which I've realized is getting entrepreneur for a survey or an interview is one of the biggest challenge. That's one thing which I've realized during my PhD journey. So getting entrepreneur on this platform and providing us on a platter is one thing which I should certainly compliment Sharada. And at the same time, getting experts like Dr. Sandeep Puri, Dr. Kakani and others is another great thing. So thanks, and I'm here to learn the right way of doing case studies. Thanks, Dr. Sandeep. Thank you.
Thanks, Navneet. Thank you. Seham.
Hi, everyone. Do you hear me well?
Yes, Seham.
It's really good to be with you guys from different backgrounds. So adding to what my friends said, Lujain and Noha, we are writing a series of teaching case studies. Some of them are submitted already to Emerald, and the rest of the cases will most probably will be submitted to the same collection of emerging market cases. So hopefully, we believe that this workshop will help us learn more about how to write a worth, teaching and reading case studies. And thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thanks, Seham. Siddharth.
Good afternoon, Professor Puri and everybody. So I'm Siddharth. Currently, I'm a case writer at IIM Calcutta. So prior to this, I was in corporate. I was supporting the GE Aviation marketing team, strategic marketing team. And I have got cases in ECCH, several cases. So I'm here to learn some other facets of case writing from you.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thanks. Suchita.
Yes, sir. So good afternoon. I think you have given us a task being in India. There's so much we are used to calling everyone in the academics, sir. So you have given us a task. And it's a pleasure meeting you because I have referred many of your cases like Raju Omelette or a laundry case or many of the reads in sales. So it is a pleasure meeting you here. My background, I have worked in Muscat, Dubai with Manipal and then in Narsi Monji, and presently I'm in marketing area. I'm working in Symbiosis, Pune. And my dream is to write with Ivy. I have tried writing a case study which finally published in Sage, but I would like to write in Ivy, and I have many stories and I have read your cases, and it is so get attached to look. So I want to learn those skill set and would like to learn from you. Looking forward.
Thanks a lot, Suchita. Thank you very much. You are very kind and nice. Thank you very much. And we can surely write something together.
Looking forward. That will be pleasure.
Sonakshi.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sonakshi Gupta. I have been awarded Junior Research Fellow under UGC, and I am presently pursuing my PhD from University of Jammu. My area of research is entrepreneurship in that, and I have submitted my synopsis. This case study workshop is totally new to me, and one of the biggest thing that has motivated me to join this workshop is whenever I used to go to my MBA class, and these cases used to fascinate me a lot. So that is why I was keen to learn from this workshop. And I am indeed very grateful to Professor Jitendra for being my mentor for Team M, and Dr. Suchita and Dr. Sandeep as well, because during this 2 days of interaction with them, I have learned a lot from them, and under their able guidance and under you, sir, I will learn a lot from this case study workshop, and really looking forward to add something new to my knowledge base rather than for my PhD work. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sonakshi. All the best for your PhD.
Thank you, sir.
Shweta.
Shweta, is it Sandeep? I'm Shweta Dixit, Sandeep.
Yes, Shweta Dixit. Yes.
I'm an academician working with Sharda University, currently engaged as an associate professor in the domain of HR and OB. And I've had some around 18 years of experience of working in different places. A little bit of that experience is also in the corporate. So case writing as such, I don't know, some may disagree with me, but I've always felt that, you know, in the domain of management, somehow when I look around and I look at people who are conducting, you know, such great researches, if I may so call them, I have still felt that, you know, that link between research and industry and academia somewhere looks broken to me. So when we are writing research papers, right, and we are using all those tools and techniques and, you know, methodologies, they are great, you know, mediating variables and moderating variables and what has impact on what. No offense to anybody, but I still have to see somebody from the industry pick up a great journal, even if it is an HBR, and pick it up and read from start to finish a research article. But I have seen very many industrialists, my own friends who are in the corporate, who pick up these good journals and they look for cases. As an academician also, when I go into a classroom, I think I contribute, like you said also earlier, you know, more effectively to my teaching also. I engage my class much better when I teach them through cases. It's not just interesting to me, it becomes interesting to them. So that board style of, you know, teaching a case through, you know, that whole, you know, it's wonderful and time just flies. And I think that is for management graduates, I think that is the only hands-on experience that we can provide them with, you know, to actually look into what kind of decision making happens in the corporate world. So this is where my fascination for cases comes from. I have written a few of them with some of my worthy colleagues, I must say, and I'm still a learner and I always want to be that. So one very important thing of inviting you over and many other stalwarts that we have had, we've been in touch with through this workshop. I think all of us are gaining great. And I intend to add to the already existing little bit of whatever little I know to probably, polish my skill sets. And someday, I don't know about 70 and 80 cases in the IV, but If I'll have 5 to my credit, I'll be very, very happy, Sandeep. So I look forward to that journey. I hope it begins here. And I hope someday I'm going to write something with you. So thank you so much for being a part of our workshop. Uh, People are really, really appreciative. I'm sure everybody is going to gain great out of it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thanks, Shweta. Thank you very much. In fact, when I started writing, my first target was to publish 5 case studies.
Oh, yes. Then I'll read 17.
Okay. Thanks, Shweta. Vineet?
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome, Professor. I'm grateful that you have joined here. I'm grateful to Professor Jaspir Matharu, who was my PhD colleague during at IFT. So I was fortunate enough to have him as a friend, as a colleague, as a mentor, who actually introduced me to you. And then I was also fortunate enough to have you. I had your acceptance for this particular workshop. So grateful to you and that you have accepted this to conduct this event. I, I was going through your cases that you have written 73 cases in the time span of 9 years, not only in IV but also into WTI and then this Michigan one and also other platforms as well. So first of all, I was very interested to know the amount of energy that you get and you put into place for writing so many cases in such a short span of time, and that too not only apart from this, you have also written many research papers that I was going through. So I'm actually interested to know that how do you get so much energy to write so many content in such a short span of time. As far as my area is concerned, I'm very much interested in this expatriate adjustment, cross-cultural management, and then the expansion of international business companies from one country to another country. That is one of my areas where I'm actually interested. Right. So both psychological domain, as far as the HR is concerned, that is also interest me. And the second one is also the expansion of companies. That is also my this thing. But as far as writing is concerned, I have done a few studies, which is qualitative, but and my publication is mainly into this quantitative writing. So I'm hoping to learn a great deal from you.
Thanks, Vineet. Yes, I think Jaspir played a major role in me saying yes for this workshop. In fact, I have to convince my president. She's very choosy to give permission for the workshops. But I gave reference of Jaspir in that case. Vineet, I must say that, how I could write so many cases. I was traveling for 5 hours in a day. My house was in Dwarka in Delhi, and my college was in IMT Ghaziabad. So I have to, I was traveling in metro. So my journey was around 1.5 hours in metro and then around 45 minutes in an auto and those type of things. So 1.5 hours in metro, morning and evening, I used to write. So, I have seen many other people who were listening to songs or doing something else. But my typical habit was once I'm in the laptop and I will start either preparing for my classes or I will work on a case study or something else. So I think traveling for 5 hours in a metro for 9 years, it ultimately, I use that time to write something instead of really cribbing about my 5 hours of travel in that case. I think it used to happen many a time that that 1.5 hour used to pass in seconds, I can say like that, when you're doing something like that. Thanks, Vineet. Thank you very much for having me here. Ashwin.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ashwin and I'm a research scholar.
Ashwin, you have to increase your volume.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My name is Ashwin and I'm a research scholar in marketing at IIT Madras. And I had written to once this, we got this information about the case workshop, I wrote to you. I got to know about you through Rajesh, sir. And that is when I wrote to you. I just wanted to know, I'm new to this and I want to learn more from you and everybody here. So I'm looking forward for this. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Ashwin. Maybe you joined late.
Yes, I was late, sir. I mean,
no issue,
there
no
was
issue.
some issue.
One of the things I started was that you have to call me Sandeep and not.
Right, Professor Sandeep.
Okay, right. So thanks a lot much time to listen to each. I typically say everyone to switch on their cameras, but I think we are having the bandwidth issue today. So because this is typically I start my workshops, right? Clayton Christensen has written an article. He's no longer there. I think all of you know about Clayton Christensen. He was a professor at Harvard Business School, right? So he wrote this article, very beautiful article. In this case, article, he's talking about three things, right? He's saying that the first thing is, how can I be sure that I will be happy in my career? Increments, about the promotions, right? Or your career is much more than. He's talking about how you the life of others. Why I'm showing this particular slide to you, that with many of us who come from the industry for 15 years, 20 years, or 10 years, we are too much, oriented towards something else. And for writing something, you need a different skill set altogether. Is from 2008 to 2011, I used to go to many people requesting them to help me in writing something, right? But people typically used to say to me that you go to the library, you refer a journal, and I think there was only one person, Dr. Jayanti Ranjan at IMT Ghaziabad, who holded my hand. And my first few publications, they were with Dr. Jayanti Ranjan. So I'm always grateful to her. Otherwise, I think everyone else simply want to work with someone who is already, know the art of writing. In my case, I think I have written many case studies with first-time case authors because I know how it feels when someone say no to you. So that's where I decided that I'm not going to say no to someone who is willing to make an effort and wants to write something with me. Second thing he's talking about is, how can I be sure that my relationship with my spouse and family members become an enduring source of happiness? In this case, he's giving some examples. He's saying that Clayton Christensen did his MBA from Harvard Business School way back in 1978. So they were having their first reunion after 5 years, 1983. And he was saying that some of his class followers, they were married and they were having beautiful spouses. In the next reunion after 10 years, some of them have already filed for divorces. And then he's talking about that after 25 years, many of his class fellows, they were the MDs, chairmen of Fortune 500 companies in the world. But they were not in talking terms with their son, daughter, or with their wife. Just look at one thing here. Someone who can manage 50,000 people is not in a position to manage those 2 or 3 important relations. That's where he's saying that all of us, even when we are growing, we must give the importance to the relationships which are very important for our life. Third thing he's talking about is, how can I be sure that I will stay out of jail? And in this case, he's giving example of Enron. Jeff King, who was the CEO of Enron, was also a class fellow of Clayton Christensen. But then he went to jail because of the Enron fiasco. So he's talking about that integrity is not something which is there when others are watching you. Integrity is important when no one is watching you. It's a bit, there's a book also on the same title. There's an article also on the same title. In case you get a chance, please read it. Quite good. I always love reading about this article. Okay, so let's go ahead. I will just spend some time, next 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll go for a short break in that case. I was thinking of asking all of you about questions about what do you mean by a case study, but we have already spent few more minutes in the introduction. So let me go ahead with it. I will say that case is a description of a situation someone in an organization or an institution faces. I think many of you have already said that Shweta was the last person to say that how case studies are more effective in teaching. I think good cases enable our students or the participants to put themselves in the shoes of the actual decision maker or a key person, typically the protagonist of the case. All of us, especially the teachers, we can use the case study to test the participants' understanding of theory. Right? So when I say that you analyze the industry. I think in this case, I'm also talking about the theoretical frameworks. The students can use in that case the pastel framework, they can use Spotify forces, they can use VRIO, video analysis, right? All things can be used in that case. So we can easily connect theory with the application. And then yes, in many cases, you can also use the learnings to develop practical insights or wisdom. What makes a good case study? I think a good case study should be one which is telling you an engaging story that the students like to read it from the start to the end in that case. It can stir emotion. I will request all of you to please read that Harvard Business Review case study which I gave to you about the salesperson. It's a very short case study, but I think all of you, once you have read that particular case study, all of us can take, sides. So their emotions, whether you want to fire a salesperson who recently became father, right, and who has done well in the past. All these things, I think case studies.
फिर से क्यों चला जाता है?
Yes. Case studies, they help us care about the characters, right? Should I fire the salesperson? In case I'm not firing a salesperson, what is going to happen with the culture of the organization, right? So all those things are linked in that case. So you can use case studies to raise different learning issues important to the curriculum. I will say these are the things which I will say that should be there for a good case study. What's the time right now? It's 2:35. Can we have a 10-minute break? Vineet, is it okay?
Right, sir. That will be perfectly fine.
Okay, so let's have a 10-minute break. We'll meet at 2:45 p.m. India time.
Right, sir. 2:45 it is.
Yes.
I request our participants, you can have a small water break and then return. So we resume at 2:45 now, Indian Standard Time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back.
Good afternoon, Sandeep.
Good afternoon.
Right. So I'm just looking at one of the messages which is posted in the chat directly to me. Can you touch on these aspects during the session? One, does an intended case study has to have underlying theory? Second, a dilemma before writing a case study. I want to write a case study on something, let's say an entrepreneur, but as a beginner, myself do not know what theory would be used. So what to do in this scenario? Okay, let me give a response to these two questions and then we can go ahead. I will say that it's not important that every case study is going to have a theory. Just look at, first of all, I'm sorry, there was some miscommunication between me and Vineet. He forgot to send you the case studies and the reading material which I requested. So no issues, he's sending you all the material which I will request you just go through it. I don't want you to read the case studies completely. I just want all of you to have a feel of those case studies. Just look at the content, right? What is there in the opening paragraphs and those type of things, right? There's no need for any of you to read those case studies by tomorrow's session, but I just want all of you to open those files, have a look at the content of those case studies. So first of all, it's not important that I will request all of you that please don't plan your case studies with keeping a theory in mind that, okay, I'm going to use this particular theory, so I have to write this particular case study. What I do typically, ask my friends, my contacts about the problems they face. And then I try to find out if any problem can be a potential case study. So in this case, many times, dilemma is really something which I look forward. For example, one of my friend told me that, Sandeep, one of my salesperson sent me a false report. He's a very good salesperson. What should I do now? He's a star salesperson. We typically, appreciate him in front of everyone in the company. Plus, he has recently become a father. Now, there are things that on one hand, the company doesn't want to, compromise with the integrity or the ethics of the organization. But on the other hand, there is a person who is very good, right? Who is very good and has worked well for the organization in the past. So what should company do with someone like him? Right? So that's a strong dilemma. This is the case study which is published with Harvard Business Review. We have not used any theory here. Right? So I will request all of you that start your case studies. Maybe you can think about writing case study from one perspective that, okay, I want to use something in a particular session of the class. For example, HRM and sales, I can combine one thing that I'm taking a session on recruitment of salespeople. Then I can simply I have one case study which is about combining HRM and sales. So in that case studies, I'm talking about what are the possible places from where the company can recruit the salespeople. And then we have two questions which are also talking about some theoretical things. That how will you evaluate the best source for the recruitment? After in that case, the company is hiring people from campus placements, they're hiring through consultants, they're also hiring through the advertisement they give in the newspapers and other online platforms, or through consultants. And then in case you are an HR person, then you know that there's a formula which can be used to evaluate the effectiveness of different sources of recruitment. That is something like that can be used. Or for example, in case you are from marketing, then there can be a question talking about the analysis of the company's competencies. So that is where you can use McKinsey 7S or Brio framework, right? So think from those perspectives that, but I typically don't use or don't develop case studies by thinking that, okay, I have to write a case study where I'm going to use Porter 5 forces. In fact, the last 10 or 12 case studies which I have published, I'm not using Porter 5 forces there because it is something which is already done many times by many people. Right? So that's my comment for these two questions which are asked by Abhimanyu. I hope my slide is visible to everyone.
Yes,
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 it is.
yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, so now I know that you people, I was thinking that all of you already have the case studies in hand and you had a look at the case studies, but now I just came to know that you people have not got the case studies. So what I will do, I will just quickly go through these few slides. We will come back to these slides maybe tomorrow in that case. So I will request all of you, Vineet is already sending you the reading material. I will request all of you to please go through the cases. I'm not asking you to read it, just go through them to have a feel of those case studies. So Sarva Pharmaceuticals is a company which is there in Cambodia. So this company is having some tough time with their marketing unit in Cambodia. So this is the title of the case study, Sarva Pharmaceuticals in Cambodia, Fight or Fold. Typically, I will suggest you to have around 8 words in the title. No, that's what is suggested by even Harvard Business Publishing, that don't go beyond 8 words in the title. So what is the content of this case study? This case study is talking about company's background, their sales and marketing. They also have their companies present in India. They have their business unit in Philippines, right? And then distribution and promotion and the future international expansion plans. Companies are also going to Myanmar shortly. And then we are coming down to Sarva Pharma unit in Cambodia. In this case, we're talking about Sarva Pharma's marketing unit. And then there's an issue with John Teang, who is the country head of Sarva Pharmaceuticals in Cambodia. And then we're talking about the pharmaceutical industry in Cambodia and the challenges for Sarva's marketing unit in Cambodia. This case is also having exhibits in which we are talking about the financials of the company and then the financials of the company in Cambodia especially. So the company is profitable in case you talk about company's total business turnover in India, Philippines, and Cambodia, but the marketing unit of Cambodia is really pulling it down. And in this case, there's not even a single question which is talking about the theory. Right? So the first question here is, what were John Teang's critical failures with control of Salesforce? What are the possible implications? How should Sarva restructure its product portfolio? Now, in this particular question number 2, I typically use GE framework, right? It's talking about the business attractiveness and the competitive strength of the company. That is quite effective in this case. Sarva is considering several actions to strengthen its marketing function. What is a good starting point? Now, in this case, what I'm doing, I'm talking about some of the options companies having and what is the possibility of doing it. For example, many students say that the company should fire the country head because he's not the right person. But firing John Teang is one thing, but hiring, getting a new person may take around 3 months, because you will select someone today. In case that person is in the Cambodia, he may take 1 or 2 months of notice period. But in case you're hiring someone from out of the country, then that person might take around 3 months for joining. Yes, this is surely a high priority, but this is going to take some time. So when I'm talking about a good starting point, then I'm talking about those things which can be implemented immediately at low cost and maybe at low risk and high gain type of a thing. I will show you the teaching note surely when we move into teaching note, maybe on day 3. Fourth question is, how should Sarva modify its sales strategy and align it with its marketing strategy? And then finally, what other strategies could turn the company around, especially the marketing unit? So these are 5 questions which I'm asking for this particular case study. I'm sorry. Ajanta Packaging is another case study. This is surely among the highest. This is a bestseller case study on Harvard Business Publishing website. This is again a very simple case study. I think there are only 6 or 7 pages of text in this case study. So in this case study, we are talking about company background, when it was started, what was the company's turnover and those type of things. Then we are getting into Indian packaging industry. We're talking about glass bottle industry. and what are challenges which are there in the glass bottle industry. And then we're talking about key account management at Ajanta, and who are the key accounts for Ajanta Packaging. So we are giving names of Patanjali and other good companies who are the customers of Ajanta. And then this case study is all about SF Foods, right, and Ajanta Packaging, how their relationship evolved over a period of time. And then we're talking about the dilemma of the case study. In this case, the dilemma is that SF Food has given a very good, or you can say a big order to the company, but they're giving them very low profitability. They're asking for the orders at the earliest, and then they are talking about making payment after 90 days. So this is all these things are an issue for the company. This case study is about those. Now there are 7 questions which I keep for this particular case study. Right. So first is more about major characteristics and growth drivers of the glass bottle industry. Again, in this case, I think it is only question number 4 when I discuss about something about theory, when we talk about what is key account management and discuss different strategies Ajanta could adopt for key account management. Otherwise, all other 6 questions are not talking about theory, but they're talking about practical, I will say, wisdom in this case. Right? Discuss the importance of CRM strategies for companies such as Ajanta, and then evaluate the direct and indirect effects of CRM initiatives on Ajanta. Very good case study again, because this is in fact a bestseller on Harvard Business Publishing. Many students, when we talk about direct impact or indirect effects of something like CRM, they usually give wrong answers. What are the possible ways of segmenting Ajanta's customers? Again, in this case, many students, they give wrong answers. This is a B2B case study, but I'm sorry to say that many students, they get into demographic, geographic, which is a B2C segmentation type of a thing. But all these things make it a very good case study, because as a teacher, we get a chance to discuss all those mistakes. So this is a very good case study from that perspective. How did the relationship between Ajanta and SF evolve over a period of time? Right? And why did Ajanta continue its relationship with SF? So there's a lot of information about SF, that it's an international player. It's a big company. They have big expansion plans, right? So all those things are there. And then finally, what should Ajanta do about its recent order from SF? Now, in this case, there are 3 choices. Yes. Any question?
No, sir. Thank you. Continue, sir.
In case anyone is having any question, just raise your hands, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask me in that case.
Sir, I had one doubt.
Yes.
In many times in the case studies, we see many exhibits, and I wanted to know what actually we do with these exhibits. Some exhibits may just be given, because I just saw your paper on this Ajanta case where only one exhibit is given, and there are some case on Pune elevator thing where there were so many exhibits given and we were not able to make sense of many things there. So I mean, why is this needed? And that is what, could you please touch on that?
Okay, I'm sorry, may I know who was speaking?
So this is Ashwin, sir.
Ashwin.
Yes.
Okay. Ashwin, may I request others to let me Shweta, can you mute yourself? Shweta Singhal and Shweta Dikshit. Okay, right. Ashwin, I will simply say that, the exhibit should be there to support the analysis. So now when I talk about Ajanta Packaging case study, this case study is more about CRM, this case study is more about key account management. So what's happening here is that we have just given that financially the company is doing well. Right? So that's the only thing which I'm talking about for Ajanta Packaging case study. But in many case studies, you need to give exhibits so that, that can help students to go for their analysis. I think you have a case study on Netflix, which is published with IMD Lausanne, right? In that case study, we have more exhibits. In case you talk about the Sarva case study, again, I think there are more exhibits. So we're talking about the financial condition of the company overall. We're talking about financial condition of the company in Cambodia, right? So Ashwin, I think many times IB do say that reduce the number of exhibits. If some exhibits are not required, what happens? We try to give lots of information many a times, but many times it's not required to really the question which you are asking. So in case exhibits are not really helping to take the narrative forward or to do the analysis, then you can avoid it.
Sir, in continuation to this, I have one more question. If you look at the secondary data that is available, taking the exhibits would be pretty much easier. But when you are doing kind of primary research and you're then taking the exhibits, not all, not all things may be revealed by maybe the entrepreneur or the case on which the case on which the entity on which the case is focused. So what do we do under such cases? Can we have cases without exhibits also? And do you think it would get published now?
Ashwin, I think having exhibits is very important, especially the financials when you talk about the case studies on entrepreneurship. In case the student is not having an idea about the financial condition of the company, how can they make a decision? So that become difficult. What we can do in this case is, in case you look at Ajanta packaging case study, I will request all of you to look at the exhibit. It's written there that the things are disguised. So what we have done, we have multiplied the actual figure of the company by a particular thing. So that's what you can do, all of you can do. Simply disguise the information, but give that information. Is that okay, Ashwin?
Yes, sir, it is clear. I saw that figures have been changed to maintain confidentiality. Yes, I do get it.
Right, so I think that is something which all of you can do, because many times, yes, entrepreneurs may not like to give the right figure about their customers. In fact, in case of Ajanta packaging, we have changed the name of the customer. The customer is a very big organization in India, SF, but we have replaced that name with SF Foods, because they don't want to tell others that there's a customer who is giving them such a big order and then about their financial terms and other conditions.
Sir, I have a question here.
Yes, Parul.
Yes, sir. Sir, when we are saying that the exhibits help us to analyze the case, so in that scenario, they should be supporting the information that is presented in the case, or we are referring to the candidate who's trying to get an answer to the case. I mean, should it be like an essence supporting the case, or should it be for somebody who's looking forward to answering the specific questions in the case? So how do I look forward to exhibits? Who is going to actually?
Parul, I think except the case studies on finance, I hope I'm audible. So
Yes,
I think
sir.
Except the case studies on finance, where we typically give lots of information to help students to solve the different things. I think other case studies, the exhibit should not come up with the answers, that the answers of the case studies there in the exhibit itself. Exhibit should support the analysis. That a company, for example, is thinking about going for expansion, right? Is the company having the right financials to do something like that? Or is a company which is into a very, focused area that right now they're only selling their products into a particular market. Now this company wants to go national. Now, so in that case, is the company having those capabilities? One of the resource which is going to be there is going to be the financial resources. I think what I will request all of you, these are all very good questions. Today in the evening, just have a look at all those case studies which are there with you. I have given you a combination of cases. The majority of the cases which I have given to you, they are primary source cases, right? Where you will find that we have disguised some of the information to maintain the confidentiality. On the other hand, we have also I have given you the case study like Bira, Netflix, where we have taken information from the public sources. So it is, we have not changed anything in those cases, right? Just have a look at these case studies, and maybe tomorrow when we start the session, we can discuss it again in that case. Is it okay with everyone?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. Okay, third case study, which is, I will say, my last HBR publication. Right now, this case study is a disguised case study in itself, because HBR, they really don't promote any company in that case. But again, this is a case study which came out with my discussion with an entrepreneur who's having his pharmaceutical company in Maharashtra, right? And I'm really lucky that I could get a, it was just a story he told me over a mug of beer. I'm, what I did in that case, I came back home at around 1 a.m., but I just wrote the complete note, what I discussed with my friend. In the morning, I sent it to the Harvard Business Review team. And the next day in the evening, within 24 hours, I was having an acceptance for this particular case study. I was lucky in that case. Now, in this case, Siddhant is actually the name of my son. We have to disguise the information. Shraddha is my daughter. Uday, which is a sales rep here, was actually my boss when I was working with Novartis. And Bhavna is the name of my wife. So I have disguised all the names, but I have kept Siddhant, Shraddha, and Bhavna as the three important names of my life in that case. You can surely do the same thing. Now, this case study is a very short case study. Maybe I will request all of you to read this case study again tomorrow. In fact, I wanted to have a poll today to discuss about this case study. So this case study is a disguised case study. Right. I have used the name as Nova Sib, which is actually the name of the company where I worked. Ciba Geigy was the company where I started my career, but then Ciba Geigy and Sandoz came together to form Novartis. So I took Nova from Novartis and Ciba from Ciba, and I made the company Nova Sib in this case. Right. Now, how a case study get published with Harvard Business Review? I will simply say that when you're sending your publication for Harvard Business Review, they simply look for a very strong dilemma. That it's not like this, that if you ask a question in the class and 90% of students are going to say for a particular alternative, then that is not going to be the case study for Harvard Business Review. When we have done the polling for this Harvard Business Review case study, 54% people were saying to fire the salesperson, whereas 46% of the people, they were saying to retain the salesperson. Now, this is really a unique dilemma, that 54% of the managers, they want to fire the salesperson, whereas 46% people want to retain the salesperson. Whenever you feel that you have a strong dilemma like this, many times we talk about dilemma, but that dilemma is typically oriented towards one particular decision, that 70 to 80% of people are going to support that particular decision. Then that is not a unique dilemma. I will still say that, yes, that can be a good case study, but that may not be a case study for Harvard Business Review. So what the possible questions which we are going to come back to all these slides again, because you people have not read the case study, right? The Harvard Business Review cases, they don't have a teaching note, but this case study has already been downloaded more than 60,000 times in the last 2 years, not even last 2 years, in fact, 1.5 years only. Right. So the first question which we are asking here is define the problem in this case and suggest the possible causes. Right. So yes, there is a salesperson who has submitted a false report. But what are the possible causes? What made him to submit a false report? Secondly, is the most important question: should they get a second chance? And identify the alternative courses of action, and then possible solution in that case. And third is what systems can be implemented by the company to avoid such incidences in future. Now, the second number question is the main question of this case study, that you can spend around 45 to 60 minutes just discussing about that particular question and then building different theoretical frameworks also. Now, many of you have already written case studies. So from your side, anyone, any idea, you can raise your hands. What makes a good case study?
So something that the answer is not very straightforward.
Okay, right, Vineet? Yes, Parul?
Sir, a strong protagonist who is the opening paragraphs of the case introducing the dilemma, and the protagonist is the essence of the case. I believe what I've learned so far.
Okay, thanks, Parul. Yes, Suchita?
Yes, which is interesting.
Suchita, you're not audible. Can you say it again?
Overall issue. Say, am I audible, sir?
Yes, Sujita.
Yeah, so what I was telling that when the story is very interesting and it is somewhere related to our lives in some part, so we feel very much connected with the whole case study.
Okay, that's a very good point, Suchita. Thank you. Nimit?
Sir, something that has a good and a very clear dilemma for the manager to kind of take a decision.
Okay, thanks, Nimit. Jitender? Yes, Jitender? Okay. Single?
Hello. Yes, sir, which makes some comparison with some big organizations that can also part of a good case study.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Shweta. Preeti?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think a good case study should open people's mind that there are different perspectives to a single problem. I think, and if people are able to think from different perspectives, that could be a good case study.
Okay. Thanks, Preeti. Yes, Ashwin?
Sir, something, I mean, you kind of give importance to the finer aspects. You look at the exhibits, perhaps something is, you kind of get a clue from there, and that perhaps could be some critical point, which perhaps people would not read and kind of tend to ignore or something like that.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Ashwin. Yes, Navneet?
Probably the story should be gripping. It should make the student continue to read till the end and should make them think, is what I think.
Okay, that's a good point, Navneet. Thanks. One more person I think has raised hand, but I think I missed it. Yes, Jitender?
Yeah, hi, sir. So, as far as the case study teaching goes, the two things as per my point of view, I think that should be we should focus upon. First is a dilemma, and dilemma should be such that it should attract more of a discussion, and there should be more of a counter arguments. So, if we have this kind of a debate, then I think the case study has got the element, sir.
Thanks, Jitender. That's a good point. Glenn? Yes, Glenn, you have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I think there should be some connection to some theoretical issues that are relevant in business field studies, so that the students are learning about the case, but the case is really helps them to understand by the example some of the more general principles they're trying to learn.
That's a very good point, Glenn. Thanks. Sandeep?
I think a good case study could be one which is multi-layered, means that something which is obvious at a surface level may not be the case.
Yes, Sandeep, that's a very good point, that when you look at superficially, it looks different, but once you get into in-depth analysis, you can find many other things.
Yeah,
that's a very good point, Sandeep. Siddharth?
Yeah, I think there should be a proper linkage between paragraphs, like what is the situation analysis, what is the problem analysis, then what is the decision, what might be the potential problem after taking that decision. So there should be a proper linkage and connectivity between paragraphs.
Okay, thanks, Siddharth. Krishna? Krishna Dixit?
It should be simple.
Okay. Krishna, your voice, we are unable to hear you, Krishna. Okay, Rajesh?
I think any case study should either reinforce the conceptual learning or by itself have significant learnings. Basically, when we try to remember concept, it stays only a limited period of time, but a story can stay for much longer time. So it should perhaps reinforce the conceptual part. That's how I see.
Okay, that's a very good point, Rajesh. Thanks. Rick, you want to say something?
Yes, I think a good case, first of all, should properly identify what the challenges are that's in the case, and then look to see through research whether or not there are other similar challenges and what was done about it, such as sort of like a benchmarking approach. So you can see what has already been identified, what has been already considered to be a solution to it, and then see how you can add value to existing solutions or come up with a new solution.
That's a good perspective. Thanks, Rick.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Rajan?
I think a good case study would present a problem with a fairly intuitive solution, but also with enough exhibits or data to for people who are very analytical to present a solution which is not so intuitive, which is counterintuitive.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Rajan. Yes, Amani?
Hello. Yeah, I think a good case should also enhance the skills for good decision making. So to help the students and the learners to avoid mistakes that's usually done or encountered in decision making.
Okay, thanks, Amani. Thanks. You already shared some of the very good points what can be considered for a good case study. Sharmila, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir. A good case should provoke the interest of the readers first. And we know that there may be many choices. The case should help us to go or reach to the best alternative solutions. We don't know what is the most logically fitting solution, but it should facilitate us to reach to that point. That's what I think.
Okay. Thanks, Sharmila. Good point. Yes, Ruchi?
Sir, I've always found that the case studies which are not very long are what
You have to increase the volume.
Sir, just 1 second, sir. Sir, I've always found that the case studies which are not very long interest the students. So is there a limit on how long the case studies should be? Because generally they like simple, interesting, and shorter ones.
Okay. Ruchi, I think most of the time when I publish with IB, they typically suggest that the data say that the case studies which are having less than 15 pages, including text as well as exhibits, they have better sales than the case studies which are longer. So because, just imagine one student in a good business school may be reading 3 or 4 case studies per day. So when they have very long case studies, that become really cumbersome for them. So it's suggested that you go for a case study for not more than 14 to 15 pages, including exhibits.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruchi. I'm having a comment from Jalal. He's talking about in quantitative tradition, we had an established translation and back translation procedure when we are using questionnaire designed in languages other than English. In case studies, if I collect the interview case in different language, do I need to follow the same procedure of translation and back translation of the interview transcripts? Thanks, Jalal. A very good question. You know, the case studies have to be written, first of all, in the past tense, except when you're using quotes of the interview. So only for the quote, you can use the present tense, but otherwise you have to go for the past tense. And yes, Jalal, again, many of my case studies have been translated into Chinese or Spanish language. I think you have to go for the format of the case studies. For example, in case you're submitting a case to the Emerald, they have a preference for the language style. So it is, I think, the language style is going to depend upon the journal or the publishing school where you are submitting your case study. But yes, translation is going to be an important part there. Am I okay, Jalal?
Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay. Thanks, Jalal.
Thank you.
Okay, case study, I will say that the first thing which all of you should keep in mind is contemporary topic. You know, many times I do get offers to write on something. You know, even the companies, they want to say that, you know, this was something which we have done into 2017 or 2016 or 2018. Can we write a case study on it? Yes, we can surely write case studies on something which has happened in the past. But that type of, you know, the success of writing a case study which is having a premise of 2016, 17 or 18 is more when you're writing a finance case study. But when you're writing the other case studies, the possibility of getting those in publication is on a much lower side. But more importantly, I think even your students, when you give them a case study, it does happen with many times that students say that, Prof, that was a very old case study. Can you give us something which is more contemporary? Or they say that, Prof, after the COVID thing, the way marketing and consumer behavior is there, it's totally different. And I do agree with that thing. So in that case, I will request all of you to, even when you're talking to the entrepreneurs for the case studies, think about something which is more contemporary. Right? Yes, I do agree with some of you who said that there has to be a controversy. So you can introduce a tension between different alternative courses of action. That can be a good point or a good dilemma to go ahead with. And then, yes, Sandeep was talking about multi-layers. Yes, the case should have multiple viewpoints. Right? So that will make it more interesting. And then there will be more participation or more discussion in the class around that. But I will request all of you to go for one or two core issues which are complex enough to discuss different things, but don't try to bring too many things in one case study. Then many times, you know, if you bring the operation issue, the marketing issue, and few more issues in the same case study, it becomes difficult for students to really comprehend what you want to take out from that particular case study. A good case study should always be ambiguous. That's what I feel, right? So you can have multiple options leading to different alternatives which are good enough, right? Or conclusions, right? I'll simply say that if everything is specific, then it's only a complex problem and not a case. But this type of thing can happen when you're writing a finance case study. Few more things which I've already said by few of you, right? A good case study has a compelling storyline with a clear teaching objective that, okay, I want to discuss something about key account management. I want to discuss something about industry analysis. Sustained discussion over a period of maybe 80 minutes or 90 minutes as per your scheduled timing of the class. Presents a puzzle that lingers with participants long after case discussion is over. No, I think in your introduction, some of you have said that you have read a particular case study and you liked reading that particular case study. I think Raju Omelette case study was mentioned by two people in that case. Exhibits I think you should give data to tackle, not to solve the problem. That's what my viewpoint is. A good case study has to be well structured, easy to read, without grammatical mistakes. Many times when we go for some of the case publications at maybe the B category or C category publication places, they don't spend a good amount of time for getting to the copy editing or proofreading or those type of things. When you publish your case studies with maybe the good places, they spend lots of time. They may push you also to really spend time on those things. In my case, I subscribe for Grammarly software. I pay for it. I go for the yearly subscription, right? And it really helps me in writing my cases in a better manner. Okay, let's get into the case writing process. This is what you can follow. I say that there are 6 stages that can be there in the case writing. The first stage is all about the idea. Okay, once you have an idea that, okay, one of my friend is facing a problem, he's having a sleepless night because of a managerial problem. Can that be a good case study? Like, for example, I just discussed about, should I fire the salesperson who has done very well in the past? And then he has recently become a father. Second thing is all about the planning where, okay, this is just one statement that should I fire a salesperson who has done well in the past? What are going to be different components which are required for my students to really get into the in-depth analysis of this particular problem, right? That's going to be my planning part. What are going to be the 5 questions which I'm going to ask my students, right? So I will request that once you have done that, okay, this is the idea I want to go ahead with, you need to spend good amount of time in planning the case study. Once you have done that thing, I will request, please have a document talking about the planning, who I am going to contact, from where I'm going to get information, what information is required from where, and those things like that. Third step is going to be your writing the part. In fact, the first exercise which we are going to do in this workshop is a caselet. I'm going to show you a small caselet which I have developed before converting it into a case study with 7 or 8 pages. If possible for you, I think many of us are already teachers here, try it in the class. So write a caselet and try it in the class and see what's happening in the class. Was the information given by you sufficient enough for students to do the analysis? If not, what is missing in it? In my case, trying a case study in the class has really helped me to really come up with a better teaching note and better, better case study in that case. Once you have tried, review the case study. I think when I'm saying writing, you have to write your teaching note also at the same time. Once you have done the review, you are happy with it, simply go for the publishing process. These are 6 steps which you can follow while developing your case studies. First step, idea generation. What you can do here. So I think the ideas can come from different places in that case. It can come through newspapers. Some of my case studies have come through reading the newspapers only. That there is a company who is thinking about launching a new product. There's a company which is having a fiasco. I have written a case study on Volkswagen. They have to, recall some of their vehicles, a particular model they have to recall. It was a newspaper thing, and then it also come as a good case study. Then I'm also having a case study on United Airlines. If you remember, in 2017, United Airlines have dragged a Chinese passenger from the airplane because they were having, overbooked, and something like that was there. That video was viral. That is also a good case study, which I can say that for me, it's also one of the highest selling case study for me.
The honor is broken.
Some of my case studies have come from class discussions only. In fact, I can say with lots of pride that I'm having a case study which is talking about should Dove come up with a baby care range of products. We wrote that particular case study in 2013. Dove came up with their baby care range of products in 2018. So I think we were 5 years in advance in saying that Unilever should launch baby care products for Dove. Our students, our students are so much creative that they can give you some very good ideas. Interviews and observations, just I think all your industry contacts, maybe the entrepreneurs or others, just talk to them. Just ask a simple question. When was the last time you had sleepless nights because of a business problem? Something which is giving sleepless nights to someone can be a very good business problem. My Harvard Business Review cases are typically those two cases which have been giving sleepless nights to two entrepreneurs, right? So that is something which can be there. And then you have to collect information on the case through further research. For example, in case you're thinking about writing a case study on a on a published source case study, then you have to see that whether enough information is available online to write the particular case study. Yes, Parul?
Sir, yes, sir. I wanted to ask a question here. I recently had an experience of talking to an entrepreneur. He has a startup in the health setup in India, and he's a serial entrepreneur. Previously, also had a successful entrepreneurial venture. And while I was taking an interview for a couple of high people who were heading high designations in that particular startup, they were all talking good about their company. Again, I was very inquisitive because I was kind of prepared that I need to understand a dilemma to further propose my case writing further, right? But time and again, whenever I had a round of conversations with several people, also, I wasn't able to come to that conclusion. So what I did was I went back to the internet and tried to Google about the company more so that if I can get some lead from there and then talk to these people, supposedly, probably that will be how I will be able to reach my dilemma situation. But what happened when I found some kind of a negative sentiment uh, in the internet industry in context of that particular company, and when I tried talking about it, not like in a very harsh manner, but of course putting it in a very right soft manner, that what would be your view take on this and etc., they completely neglected on it, and they were not very willing to discuss it and take it ahead, because I believe that could be something which could lead to, or which would be a point of concern leading them to sleepless night, but they were not ready to talk about it. So how do we actually fight, or how do we actually come to conclusion with these kind of situations? Because I've had this experience time and again with certain set of entrepreneurs. If you could guide us through this.
Good question, Parul. Parul, what you can do here is, for example, I will simply request, in case you read the case study, maybe Sarva Cambodia case study, in case you can read it, or even if you read the case study about Ajanta packaging. Now, what's happening here is, or this case study about should you fire a salesperson? We are very clear that okay, we are not. The case study is not going to be like this, that I'm going to take sides. You can simply tell to your entrepreneurs contacts that I'm going to talk about the company. I'm going to talk about the history of the company, how it was started and how the thing was going on. Then I'm going to talk about one incident, and you're writing the case study from the company's perspective, that something has gone wrong, then what a company can do, what are the possible reasons, and what a company can do in that case. So I think you need to tell them that that you're going to give the story of the company, right? It is an opportunity for the company to really put the things in the right perspective.
Okay. So a better conviction probably to engage them to the fact that you don't have to be worried, and we are going to portray your image in a yet better manner only.
Absolutely. That makes a better sense. Right now I'm working on a case study with the MD of the Nestle Philippines. It's a primary source case study. So what we are doing in that case is that, Nestle has already said that Philippines as a country, what's happening here, that because of the, I will say, the pollution things, especially the water pollution, what's happening in the Philippines is that all this plastic or the packaging wastage, that is contributing a lot to the pollution. And this is a country with beautiful beaches, but unfortunately, once you go there, you can find some of the beaches with you will find lots of pollution, like water bottles and everything is there. Now Nestle did something, but unfortunately, their intention was right, but maybe something wrong happened the way it should not have happened. So the company got some negative publicity, but the company was very good in that case. Company was clear in its intentions, and then how the company is thinking of rectifying it. So we are writing a case study on it. The MD of the company is involved. We have many stakeholders who are involved in this whole thing. So something like this can be considered. So you're talking about specifics, right? That you're going to take from the company's perspective.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ashwin?
Sir, I have a question. Sir, say there is a case study on addressing the franchising dilemma in a food sector, and we kind of come up with a similar problem is being presented by an entrepreneur in a similar segment. Do you think it is advisable to write another case, given that we can kind of expect some overlaps? I want your take on this.
Ashwin, you're just starting your journey. I will not say, I'll say that yes, go ahead with it. I'm lucky. When I started my case writing journey, there are very few professors all over the world who were writing case studies. But I can say that maybe so in that case, I was one of the few people who wrote case studies on restaurants. But once I got a publication on the restaurant, I am having, I think, 4 or 5 case studies on restaurant. But then I think there are many people who have written case studies on many restaurants, and they have been published. They have been published at good places. It's all about a good story, because, okay, I might have a case study publication on a restaurant, but my case study got published in 2017. But your case study is 2021, right? So can you bring a new perspective, even if there are, in case I have written a case study about one restaurant going for franchisee option, or for the COCO option, company owned, company operated type of a thing. But then I'm talking about how the COVID has affected the financials of the company, and those type of things can be considered. So it's all about what a new perspective you can add to the case study.
Sir, can 3 or 4 issues be simultaneously addressed in one particular case study? Like suppose I bring it from a strategy viewpoint. Is it advisable or wise to touch on 3 or 4 points? Say manning issues are there, admin related issues are there, or should we focus on any one particular concrete issue?
Actually, typically, in case you talk about my experience, I typically go for around two things, right? I don't get into more than 2, because many times when you get into more than 2 issues at the same time, the case study can be quite complex for you as a new author. So I think in your initial days, concentrating on 2 issues, and then over a period of time, once you have the feel of it, once you have 5 publications, then you can getting into making it more complex.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Shweta.
Yes, actually, I just want to ask you, like, if I want to read your case studies, so from where I can read those? Because many of the people were discussing, like, we have read your case studies, so how I can read online, or I have to purchase some books where I can read the case study?
Okay, Shweta, so first of all, I think Vineet has already shared maybe 5 or 6 case study with you,
Okay.
right? So you can
I
read
will
those
check
5
it.
or 6 case studies,
Okay.
right? That's the first thing you can do. Second thing is, I think most of business schools, their libraries, they arrange for these case studies. So in case you go to the Harvard Business Publishing website, you are registered there through your college, you can easily access all these case studies.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Shweta. Yes, Sandeep.
Yeah, Professor Sandeep. So there is a situation which I want to discuss and take your opinion. So what happens is that there are many entrepreneurship students and in our kind of university, and when they pitch in the incubation cell, so we hear their stories. So there is an interesting story regarding after death market in India, and we have compiled everything, right? The guy who was going to start this business, he has done everything and all those kind of things. And later on, the final dilemma or was to whether to enter into this market because of a lot of cultural constraints and all those kind of things. So in that scenario where the business has not yet started, but there is a guy who has created whole complete business plan and the market study analysis, and it has a great story. Even I have taught that in my class 3 to 4 times, and it has gone like like it was very nice in terms of teaching note and all that, whatever I've created. But I don't know how to take it forward in terms of publishing. So because it's not a company, it was just a student, and then later on he went on to take a good company placement and all that, and he never pursued this. So but the whole story has come out very well. So what to do in terms of author when we take, like, let's say, company consent. So what will happen in this case, or how should I proceed?
Sandeep, in this case, I think you can surely publish it. How you can publish it? It is like this, that it's just like that the Sandeep Rawat is working for Glaxo. He's having 3-year work experience, 2-year work experience. And then, Sandeep is thinking about starting his own company. And this is his business idea, right? And then he's into a dilemma. Whether he should start his company as a focused approach of segmentation limited to a particular category, or he should go for a mass marketing type of a thing, right? That can be your dilemma in this case. And then you get into the industry where he is thinking of entering. Then you can talk about the major players of the industry. You can talk about the challenges of that particular industry, right? And then you can even talk about, because in your case, Sandeep is surely not having any selected financials. It can be like this, that you're talking about that Sandeep has saved around 50 million Indian rupees, which he is thinking about investing. And then how he is thinking about investing, that, okay, he's going to manage some of the financials through the loan, bank loan, and those type of things. Then you can even talk about the exhibits, what is going to be the bank loan, what is going to be the interest rate, what is going to be the payment, payback time, and those type of things. So you can even, think about it, and then you can even take to the next level. So I think, Sandeep, that can be published. That should not be an issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sandeep. And Parul, they were good questions.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, Krishna.
Good evening, sir. So I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, Krishna.
Sir, I want to ask, like, apart from the teaching case study, if you want to go for a research case study, then while I was reading the case study and following the Robert Ian methods that they've explained up, so how, as a nascent researcher, it's very difficult to go for qualitative study, and especially for the case study approach. Then can you suggest us how to do the analysis section of case study? Because normally, as you said, like, you just written in the 1 a.m. the whole interaction that you happened. So as an early researcher, how you gonna guide us for writing or narrating those interviews, and then putting up into the word format, that the strong analysis section, where as a new researcher I'm lacking for, because I have many ideas, I have the data in my campus, but I'm unable to put it in the words. So can you please guide in that?
Okay, Krishna, I'll just say a few things before we go forward. When I was around 20 years of age, when I gave my first interview, I was university topper for B Pharmacy, but I studied from Maharashtra. So till 10th, I studied in a Punjabi school. So I have studied in local language. And then even in my graduation, my B Pharmacy, I studied from a university in Maharashtra. And I was typically, all my teachers, except a subject in the class, they were all speaking in Hindi or Marathi, which is the language in Maharashtra. So I can say that, when I was giving my first interview, there was a group discussion. for the first 25 minutes, I could not utter a single word in that group discussion because in those days I used to translate everything from Hindi to English, and I used to take time that, okay, in case I have to say this thing, this is how I'm going to translate it, and that's how I'm going to say it. But I could not get a single chance to really say something in that particular group discussion. Fortunately for me, after 25 minutes, the coordinator of that group discussion said that, okay, now everyone has shared their points. Let Sandeep Puri conclude the discussion. So I'm having a good memory. I have heard those people talking for 25 minutes, so I could conclude that group discussion, and they only shortlisted 2 people. I was one of the lucky person. What I want to say here, Krishna, is this, that if someone with my background can have 2 Harvard Business Review publications, then Krishna, you people are much more privileged. I will simply request you to simply, read few cases, one thing. Second thing is, once you have something in your mind, start writing it. I think maybe just a matter of few days, that once you have written few things, you will start improvising it on your own. That's the best thing which Krishna, you can do. That's my personal suggestion to you, that start writing. If there's something in your mind, start writing. And then once you write it, you may feel that this is not covering what you were actually thinking. Okay, delete few lines, add few lines. And I'm sure that once you do that, something like that, Krishna, just over a period of maybe 4 or 8 weeks, you will be quite happy with your own narrative in that case.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your valuable words. It's a privilege for us to be with you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Krishna. Right. So,
Professor Sandeep, excuse me for the interruption. I just have a question related to the industry background. Is it important to include some figures and data about the industry, I mean, globally, or I just need to focus on the startup and the competition and industry background related to the national context of the country that I'm writing on?
Okay. Thanks, Sam. A good question again. Sam, yes, I think you should only concentrate about the industry from the national perspective. In case the company is not thinking about going into international marketing, but in case your case study is going to talk about international marketing, then you might have to bring the international perspective. But otherwise, for the cases from the local context, it is enough to talk about the industry from the local context from the national perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Right, so your case studies can be published sources, it can be disguised. It has happened with me many times that when I was writing a case study, I was writing a case study from a particular company's perspective, but then my contact left the company. Then I was into a dilemma. What should I do? Either I should leave the case study, but I always took a call that I'm not going to leave my case study like that. So in that case, I have to disguise the case study. That is also one thing which you can do in case you feel that you have a very good story with you, right? Simply, I think, change the name of the company, change the name of the country, and everything like that can be done. Primary source cases or the field research case studies, I think they are more challenging many times because, you have to go ahead with someone else demands, time frames, and many other things. It can be frustrating also many times when, you feel that everything is in place for you, but still someone is not agreeing to your viewpoint. But I must say that the success rate of publishing a field research case study is much more than publishing a published source case study or a disguised case study. Yes, Parul?
Sir, I have a question here. When we are saying that when we are disguising the case, basically, so do we have to tell the publisher, for example, if I am submitting my case to EMCS, so do I have to tell them that, okay, the company name was this, but because of certain reasons, I would not want to use a name. So in publication, it will go as XYZ company, or is it like disguised even to the publishing house also?
Well, this all depends upon the publishing company, because what happens many times, you can simply say that Parul Enterprises, and then as a footnote, you can mention the name of the company disguised. Now, in case the publisher asks you to know more about the company, then you have to give the details, because publisher may like to know that if it is easy for someone to check the name of the company. Because in case the name of the company is, you're writing a case study on Tata, and then you simply make a new name by saying, instead of Tata, you're saying Toto, right, or something like that. You're talking about the company's headquarters is at the same place, company's financials are same. So I think in that case, you have to make changes in everything. From company's headquarters in New Delhi, maybe you have to make company's headquarters in Lebanon in that case, right? So I think you have to disguise many things. That the main perspective here is that no one should be in a position to simply take an idea that, okay, this company is like this, but that can be the actual name of the company.
Okay. So, and I wanted your opinion in a situation where I'm stuck, like something which is very similar to the one you've just spoken in context of the person left the company. So I am here caught in a situation where I have a very strong storyline, but the company officials are not ready to actually address to the concerns and queries which I have, which are coming from the reviewers end. So in that case, if I go for a disguised thing now, will that be okay with the publication house? And in specific, talking in regard to EMCS in this case.
I think you can tell them that you're changing the name of the company because you're unable to get the permission. So you can simply try that thing, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, Navneet?
Good evening, Professor. I'm just in context with the last point, field research, which is challenging. In fact, our experience had been the same. When we are contacting the entrepreneur, he has given us some inputs, but we are not able to get further inputs. And as we start writing, we get new queries, and we wanted to have some inputs from the entrepreneur, which we are not getting. So in such cases, can we sort of slightly extrapolate what he has told us so that it makes a good teaching for the students? Can we do that?
Yes, Navneet, I have done that in some time. So I think you can also do the same thing, Navneet.
Thank you.
It's more about faith. Many times I have left the case studies after initial discussions when I feel that someone is not really having that faith, because it's just like this, that it's not like this that I'm writing something to give something negative publicity to your company. Many of my friends or contacts who have given me permission to write the case studies. Now look at Raju Omelette. In case you actually go to Raju Omelette's place in Dubai, he's having his interviews published in Harvard Business Review. Just think about it. Ajanta Packaging. In case you go to the office of Ajanta Packaging, I have written 2 case studies with Ajanta Packaging, and they are both listed on Harvard Business Publishing. Companies is talking about that thing. It is there in their brochure. It is there in their website that the case studies on the company is published with Harvard Business Publishing. So I think someone has to have that faith. In case you feel that something is missing, be a little bit cautious, because it can happen in that case that you have finished the case study, everything is being done. When you're going for a signature, the customer is saying, or the contact is saying no for the signature. And then that is really, a heartbreaking thing, that you have worked for something over a period of 6 months or 8 months, and then you are unable to get the signature.
Okay. But how do we then fill such gaps? Because as we start writing, we need some information. It is not that the entrepreneur is not wanting to give the information. It is just that he doesn't have time. This is not his priority. This is not his cup of tea. So in such cases, what do we do? He is okay with this case study coming in any publishing, but he's not having time. He's tied up. That's the challenge.
Navneet, I think there are a few things which you can do in that case. Is you can use some of the online platforms like Euromonitor, which is giving you some insights about a particular industry. Right? So So try to use something like that, because many times even the entrepreneurs don't have the data also.
Correct.
So I think you have to use some of the secondary sources just to supplement that part. For example, Sehem was just talking about the industry from the national perspective. You know, the entrepreneur may not have that data with him or her. In that case, you can simply talk about something from Euromonitor or IBEF or other platforms, or Statista in that case, from where you can get additional information.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think you, Professor Rajesh is there with you people. So I think maybe you have to meet the person when he or she is free. So that is something which you have to think about.
Yeah. Certainly, we're working with Professor Rajesh only.
Yeah,
So
so
we'll do.
having, I think when he's there in the picture, I know that he's a big resource in that case.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yes, Jitender.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Just wanted to take forward the Sandeep's issue, because even we face a lot of issues that entrepreneur is not he's not there, or we have a good case but we don't have anyone to have a sanction or give a consent, or entrepreneur is not ready to give consent, there's some or the other, there is some consent issue. So how should we tackle that issue? Because as like, I'm talking to you, from you talking, I can get very good gist. Now you have spoken about this so and so company, so I can talk about this. Now I start framing, now from whom to get the consent, and how should we go about it?
So I think, Jitender, I'm saying again that I think the first of all, I think you need to convince the people with whom you're writing the case study that, this case study is all about giving the perspective of the company. We are going to talk about how the company, for example, was started, what are the good things you people have done in the last so many years, right? So how you have built the company from scratch to the current level. And then you can simply say that after talking about all these things, we are going to talk about some of the issues faced by the company, right? So at nowhere in the case study, you're going to talk about something negative. You're going to talk about an issue.
Positive, of course, yes, sir.
Right? And how that issue can be handled from that perspective.
Yes, because many times what has happened, the entrepreneur has given the consent. Now he does not have time to talk. So what we have done, we have taken one insight, and we have taken from secondary sources, we have framed the case, and we have published it just with the consent, and that got the good remarks also. So even we have done that. So, but it's very hard to get consent. So I was thinking, is there any other alternative? I don't think so. There's another alternative.
I think if possible, I think I will say to Navneet also, if possible, then you can ask this company to give you someone in the company, or maybe a manager in the company, who can give you the information. I have shared one case study with you people, which you can read in the evening, RX Pharmacy, right? So the MD of the company is a very good friend, but it's not like this, that even they are very good friends, they don't have time, and they don't have, many times they don't have sufficient data with themselves, because it's a big organization, they are into many businesses. So what they have done in that case, they introduced me to one of their managers, in fact vice president of the company, who gave me lots of information, right? So I think you people can also think about having someone in the company who can give you the information instead of the MD of the company himself or herself.
Thanks, Professor Puri. That's a good suggestion. I think we will take that in that direction.
Yes, Sharik.
Yeah, Sandeep, my question was that when we do this primary research cases, they are generally dependent on the interview and the information we are getting from them. There is limited data or limited information available externally. Is the data that we get from the company sufficient enough to write the case, or do we have to use public available information to kind of substantiate some of the information that we are getting from them?
Sharik, this is going to be based on what the case study is all about. So what I can request you is just have a look at the Ajanta packaging case study, or even have a look at this Sarva Cambodia case study.
Okay.
Now, in case of Ajanta packaging case study, I think there was basically no need to have a data about the industry and many other things, because this case study was more about the company, its practices, its customers, and those type of things, right? But on the other hand, in case you look at a case study like Netflix, now the Netflix case study is having lots of information which is there for the other players, what Disney Hotstar is doing, what Z is doing, what YouTube is doing, what MX Player is doing. So we have to talk about lots of things from other perspectives.
Right.
So that case is having a different perspective. So it now it all depends, Sharik, that in case the dilemma can be solved. For example, this case study of should the salesperson be retained or fired?
Yeah.
Right. So there is no external data which is required here. It's a very clear-cut case study. There's a salesperson who has submitted a false report. The company is having a policy of integrity and ethics. What should the company do now?
Right.
You know, I will request all of you that just spend some time. I will just spend some time in looking at the case studies which are already there with you. We still have, tomorrow's session will start at 1 p.m. So just have a feel of those case studies. Some of your questions, I think, will be answered simply by looking at those case studies. Okay. Yes, Shweta.
Hello.
Yes, Shweta.
Yeah, sir, I just want to ask one more thing is as we are discussing about the case study and all, we are asked to write about scoping report. What is that? Actually, I was just looking, I was like searching on Google and all, but what we have to basically do in that scoping reports?
Ma'am, for that, I would request you to please ask your mentor regarding that.
Okay.
Okay, please. Thanks.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Jitinder. Thanks, Shweta.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, once you have done that thing, the next point is basically going to be the planning the case study, right? Now, when you're planning the case study, I think it's all about selecting content and the case topic, right? So which content area will I choose and what case topic will I use to illustrate it? So it all depends upon whether you're from marketing, HR, finance, strategy, general management, right, operation management, or IT. Now, these are two of my recent case studies which are under publication at different places. One case study is all about Google acquisition of Fitbit, and the other case study is Amazon Food. In fact, Amazon has entered into the food delivery business only in Bangalore at this point of time. But we read it in the newspaper and we wrote a case study on it, right? So similarly, I think you can also think about what is going to be your call.
This Amazon case study of yours is based on secondary data.
Yes, it's based on both of these case studies are secondary data case studies.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. So you have already, you got an idea and you have done the planning. Now it's time to start writing. Right. So I will request all of you to collect as much information as possible to write about the case study. Second step is going to be develop a caselet along with the learning objectives, and that is going to be your homework for tomorrow's session. Right. And then I will request all of you to write the case and the teaching notes simultaneously. Just have once you have a brief outline of the case study, then you should have that, okay, these are the 4 or 5 questions I'm going to ask. What are going to be the possible answers to those 4 or 5 questions? Right, this is a group exercise which I planned. So just have a look at it. Vineet, Mohit, can you give me an idea about, have you already made the groups?
Yes, sir. We have already made groups. In fact, we have given them one entrepreneur each, sir. Right? Okay. They are going to develop a primary case study. What exactly they are doing, they have already met the entrepreneur. They have asked them certain basic questions regarding their business plan, regarding the challenges being faced. Right? So what these people are doing, these people are exactly doing the same thing, but in a different form. They are actually developing. We have signed, consent to collaborate from the entrepreneurs, and these guys are supposed to develop it as the workshop will proceed. So maybe at a point of time, we can discuss them also, that what exactly they are facing with their entrepreneur, maybe the challenges what they are facing in terms of getting information, in terms of procuring more information, because many of these entrepreneurs are very small. They are startup ventures. In line with the theme, what we have done is that these are startup ventures, and these startup ventures are definitely, they are saddled with a lot of troubles in terms of their operations, in terms of the way they function, right? So all that we have actually brought in, and that is what I said in the morning. We have dovetailed the entire thing, from end to end, and we hope that we are going to come up with, great publications, under your guidance. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mohit. So Mohit, how many people are there in a group?
Sir, we are having 3 individuals in a group along with a mentor.
Okay, so who's the mentor? Mentor is the professor. Mentor is, you're talking about from someone from the industry.
No, sir. Mentor is, we have an entrepreneur in that particular group. Obviously, we have, from the organizing committee, we have one senior faculty member. Those who have written cases, or they will be, under their guidance, right? In tandem with all those 3 individuals, we are developing cases, primary cases, sir.
Okay, right, Mohit. Thank you. So I will request all of you to please take a snapshot of this particular slide. All right. So, so in that case, I think we are having groups of 4 each, not group of 3, 2 each. 3 plus 1 is something like this, right? So you already, I think, have started discussion with the entrepreneurs and your faculty mentors,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So what you need to do now is tomorrow there's going to be a presentation from all of you. So Mohit, how many groups are there?
Sir, there are right now there are 13 groups, sir.
Okay.
So, yeah. So what, in fact, the scoping report, roughly what you're saying, we have already prepared certain things, and definitely we would like to actually make a presentation in front of you so that you can highlight, wherein or where all we need to actually work on while we develop this case study.
Okay. Thanks, Mohit. I will request, I was keeping 10 minutes at a time because I was not aware of how many people are there. So I will request all of you to please keep a time limit of around 6 minutes, right, for your presentation.
Sure, sir.
Right. So what you have to do is that you have to make a slide of your idea, and then you have to talk about the possible learning outcomes, and maybe you can talk about 2 or 3 questions that can be asked in that case.
So the scoping report, what Shweta Singhal ma'am was talking about, has got a gist of the objectives that each and every group they want to focus on.
Okay. Right, Jitinder. Okay, so this is going to be the plan which I'm talking about. So all of you have to develop a caselet. Right, so that's what you have to present tomorrow. So what you people can do, I'm just showing you one caselet of mine. This caselet is pricing dilemma of an exporter, and this is just a one. Right, so this is simple, a one-page caselet, and we are talking about questions. Can Amber sell these towels at 190 per kg? What could be the minimum possible rate to sell the towels? I have taken some sessions in this year with this particular caselet where I could spend around 90 minutes. Even after 90 minutes, there are some of the students who are saying few things. So what you have to do is you have to make one slide where you're going to put something like this for the scoping report or something like whatever you have prepared in. Right, and secondly, coming down to the dilemma in that case. Right, so you will get around 7 minutes to make a presentation. Is it okay with everyone? Any question here? Yes.
Yes, sir. So, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, so my question is, the caselet is basically our scoping report, if I understand correctly?
Yes, Noha, you can consider it like that. Yes, Noha.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So 7 minutes for each participant, right? And we are 3 to 4 people in each group, so it will be repetitive.
No, 7 minutes for a group.
For a group, okay, fine.
Or share their caselet basically. Yes, anyone, any question here? I will also request all of you to please have a look at the reading material which Vineet and Mohit shared with you. Just, I don't want any one of you to really spend too much time in reading it in detail. Just have a feel of it so that tomorrow you can ask questions after looking at those case studies. Shweta, you want to say something? Shweta Dikshit?
No, sir. No. I was just listening and wondering how we are going to plan for tomorrow. So I think it's a great idea. This presentation of the caselet is a great idea, and our groups would also get a first-hand feel of how to take an idea forward. So
Shweta,
yes.
How to do the things. We may not get too many.
If you could give an idea to some of the groups also, I think it will benefit almost all the groups.
But I'm working on it to make it a 7-page case study and then writing something on it.
Yes, sir.
Right, so this can be our starting point.
Yes.
Yes,
of course.
Yes, Mohit, it's great. You want to say?
It's perfect, sir. I believe, it is going to be the starting point. And taking a cue from here itself, you can, from your wisdom, you can highlight the points. What we what we as team members, we are supposed to, work on. And I believe it is going to be a great start to a wonderful end, or to a meaningful end, actually.
Thanks, Mohit. Thanks, everyone. Thanks a lot for your wonderful contribution in the class today. It was good in the workshop. Thank you. Take care and stay safe. See you tomorrow.
Thank you so
Yes,
much,
sir.
sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sandeep. And let me inform my participants once more. Tomorrow we'll be meeting at the same time. So it's going to be 1 to 4:15 tomorrow. Please be prepared with your 7 minutes presentation in the group so that Sandeep may, look at them and give you his valuable suggestions and advices as to how you can take your work forward. So thank you so much for joining in, everyone. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you again. Thank you, Mohit, Vineet, Jitendra, all of us. I think we are doing a great job. Let's pat our backs too today.
Thank you, Sandeep, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 again. Please be here on time. Thank you so
Bye, all
much.
of you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll meet on Zoom only, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. But Zoom, I think Sandeep will have to provide. Today he did the link. So I don't know. Vineet, if you could, coordinate this with Sandeep tomorrow and see whether we have to be making creating the link, or will he be doing it at his end?
Sure, I'll get back to you.
All right. Okay. Thank you.